Let's see. All right, all right. Right there. Wow. All right, my dog. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulty in the morning. Listen, things happen. You adjust. Sorry for being late. I've been here, as I said before, just got in a little while ago, got my iced coffee, which is part of my fast. So last meal I had was Sunday at 8 o'clock. It is now Tuesday at 6:35. I've just had some water and iced coffee. I said to myself for the fourth quarter, I'm gonna change a little bit. I'm gonna tighten it up. Made some adjustments for the whiteboard weekend. Said, no beer, no wine, which definitely reduced my alcohol intake last week. No chips, no French fries, no breadless on a sandwich, and then what was interesting is yesterday we were here. I saw Nvidia start getting a little beat down, and all of a sudden AMD triggered, and I'm like, wow. I checked. I had a nice amount of AMD calls, so I still, even though I was excited, even keel, did my 40 charts. I wrote my note. I did my morning call, and I traded the way I always do. Yesterday, believe it or not, just going to say that it was my best day of my career. I've been doing this for 30 years. I also, by the way, just besides AMD, I had like 25 positions on. I positioned into Tesla into the close on Friday. I have crypto, you name it. I have 25 plus positions. So yesterday was my best day. So people are like, hey, Red Dog, you going out celebrating? You're gonna, you can pop in this champagne. I'm like, no. I'm like, I said on Sunday I'm gonna be doing a fast, a 30-hour fast. I'm like, just because I had a great day doesn't mean I'm staying the course. That you celebrate a good day, but if you make a promise, you keep it to yourself. That's how you build your self-esteem. Okay, just don't go on a deep end because little lady luck. Listen, luck happens when opportunity meets preparation. If you put on the right trade at the right time, typically, you tend to get a little lucky here and there. And anyway, the bottom line is everyone's talking about the AI bubble. Everyone's talking about how this can't last. But meanwhile, the S&P hasn't been below the 21-day for more than, a day. A day. So until the S&P is below the 21-day for a day, I'm going to continue to massage trades, use a tier system, look for setups, rotate through sectors, and make money with my community. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3 Live, founder of Red Dog Mindset. Here's the SPYs. 3 days of consolidation, not even big days. So within this, above the 8th day, remember when the government shut down and people are like, does it matter that the government shut down? I'm like, the market will tell us if it matters. And guess what? Didn't matter. We held the 8th day and continued. I haven't even looked at what the hell's going on in Washington, nor do I care. Those bastards spend too much of our money anyway, and all they do is care about themselves. Anyway, with that being said, here we are. I got to give a shout out to all my dogs who are in Dash. Wow. You guys, we talk about new names. We talk about getting involved and how do you, rotate and get, a different name to go with them. Everyone on TV, again, the TV, turn the damn TV sets off. Everyone's talking about, oh my God, it's just the Mag 7 driving the market. That's crap. That's not the case. Some of the best winners from my community this year are not the Mag 7 names. It's Dash. Look at this Dash. Look at the weekly chart of Dash. When Dash literally was, what was it, 144, I was like, hey guys, look at this. Look at Dash. I think it gets to at least 225 to 255. And then here, I'm like, it's not going to stop. It's going to 300. So DoorDash was a lot better than Amazon this year. A lot better than you name it. So look at this move in DoorDash and look how it satisfied all the rules. So if you were in DoorDash, congratulations. It was a new name in the last year and a half. All your kids probably use it. Turned into a huge winner. Congratulations. I have so many names that I didn't even get involved in this last portion. I sold it last week. But bottom line is, It's been a really, really good. Now, this is the last thing. Last week, I put Dash back on the radar that was rebuilding well. Some bought calls, others shares as it cleared 269. I think 300 before year end. Okay, recent high was 278, and it got above that for a great trade. That's your DoorDash. You know what? Some people are playing grab if you want. I think grab is okay. I think grab takes out the 665. You could be in this. This is supposedly the DoorDash of overseas. It's not the leader, but that's fine. But Blair did it. A lot of you guys have done it. Mag 7 has not been where the action is. So that's one name or two names in a different sector. And then the other name, look at this IREN. IREN. No one knew this name. This name was like nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden, right around here, I had a bunch of guys who, work at different funds. Like, you got to keep an eye on IREN. It's a miner. It has AI components, got data center components. And it's been literally on, out of the 40 charts that I do, it's been on there every single day. And a lot of guys have been doing fantastic here. Look at this move. And look, above the 8-day moving average. I've written so many ebooks about this. Look at the size of this move. Holy cow. This isn't, Cisco. This isn't, you name it. This isn't the Mag 7. This is friggin' IREN, a name that popped up, a new name that came out of a big, big base right here. Look at this. And wow, what a move. That's fantastic. So instead of complaining about an AI bubble, participate, figure out a way to embrace it and go with it. NBIS was another new name, one of my best names, actually. It did a little red dog reversal sell yesterday, but I made a lot of money during earnings. That was my best earnings option play last quarter. And then right around here, I positioned into a lot of it, for this move. I missed this end of the move, but that's fine. So if you can catch this chunk of a move in a name, you could do that all day long. And it finally did a red dog reversal sell yesterday. Same thing with ASTS. Nobody knew what ASTS was. This has been, a power play here and there. This has been on the radar, all here and there. And the last real trade we had was right here. Remember this? Everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to sizzle, red dog," And I actually sold mine here. I missed these last 2 days. Guess what? I'm over it. I started positioning options here first for this move. Missed that. Then it consolidated, bought options in here, and made a ton of money. Some guys, this stock changed their lives because they did their research. They embraced it. They approached it. They framed the trade. You need to frame your trade, frame your risk, know whether you're looking at the weekly, the daily, the monthly, whatever it is. Bottom line is, wow. At this point, you can't buy it. You missed it. I remember the guys that got worn out here and never went back to it because they didn't have the right mindset. They're, "Oh my God, the stock's on the do not touch list. Look how long it's been consolidating." But meanwhile, they didn't realize, look at the size of this first move. So you have to have consolidation. Anyway, congratulations to some of the guys that I do the 3 o'clock call on Mondays. They've been all over this also. So I'm going to give you a name that I think could do something very similar. Okay, this is Tempest AI. Tempest AI, I'm in options. I just started buying. I think that this thing's going to go a little sideways here, for another day or so. But look at the size of this channel. Since 2024, going sideways, newer name in the right sector. I have a feeling this thing, mark my words, I'm going to probably frame this little video maybe. It's October 7th. By some point, mid-October to the end of October, this thing's going to be 110. In my humble opinion, money back guarantee. This is free anyway, so you don't pay anything for it, so you can't come after me. This is out of the bottom of my heart. So anyway, I do think this is going to be a big move. Big move. But again, play it the way you want to play it. Some are in stock. I'm in options. I'm going to go out a little further. Rick Friedman says, "I've been trading around 10 all year. My number one winner of the year." That's great. I'll tell you, this isn't my number one winner. I actually tried it on this day and I got hurt. But guess what? I went back to it now because the market wasn't ready for this breakout. And now it goes sideways a little bit and probably has a really nice move. So you guys want something. Sometimes everyone's like, "Red Dog, you're talking about what happened." I'm not going to talk about what happened because I was telling you what was going to happen weeks before. Remember Wolf? And I told you guys that this is going to get to 14 to 16. I know it hasn't been sexy. It hasn't been a fast move, but we were buying Wolf in here. And I said it's going to be 14 to 16, probably by Thanksgiving. It's still on the trajectory. I've been buying dips, and it's just something to do. I play just because I like the Red Dog and the Wolf. But anyway, it's been pretty good. So, yesterday I will say was a big day for me. Big day. Why? Because of AMD. And now what? I don't know. there wasn't really much action in Oracle after it had that big day. It's got a hold 203 now, goes sideways if you think there's going to be follow through. I was in the 172.5 options. I bought for 250. I think I sold them up to 50. It was a really good day. But guess what? It was fine for me. I'm like, you know what? It was a great day. I deserve it. I'm holding 25 positions or so, managing them, giving them to the alpha team, giving them to, doing this here. And sometimes get a little lady luck. Can someone saying, can BBAI make an ASTS move? No, totally different companies. Totally different. But I do like BBAI. I'm in it. I'm in stock. I'm in options. So this is BBAI. It's acting pretty well. I caught this first move, trimmed a lot, and then I started buying it back. I have options in stock. This is one of the names that a lot of the Congress people were buying. To be honest, I don't even really know what it does, so I'm not that big. It's not a hyper focus, but it is a position. If you remember last week, I told you could accumulate QS and buy options, and look at that move in QS. This is not even my name. This is, the alpha team. You should be on the alpha team. He was talking about this. Actually, he told me that he was in tier 10 when the first news came out and had that big gap up before that move. I didn't even play this move. I missed that move. Right around here, though, he's like, Red Dog, don't miss the next one. This is real. So I said, okay, you know what? I trust you. You're part of the alpha team. Let's do it. And everyone on the alpha team has been playing this thing. Everyone. Not everyone, but most. We had options. We had stock. I talked about it here. Beautiful move. Okay. I remember that day that it came out with news, and didn't go. And people were like, Red Dog, you suck. I'm like, it wasn't the news people were looking for. It was just a supplier deal, a corning. Anyway, really nice move. It wasn't a hyper focus, just a position that's working that you're massaging with a process. So if you have a process on being in a position, you don't have to over focus on it. I know AMD's up 9 pre-market, another day. Well, let's get back to it. So anyway, that was a trade. Remember, I told you guys all the aviation names led by Joby, JLBY. This was your money trade. Right now, it's just trending. I sold my JLBY yesterday, even though I probably shouldn't have. I just wanted to get out of some stuff. But this is when I was accumulating it. This is your A+ setup. This is your add, and this is your sell. If you want to have some on, you have some on. ACHR is in that group. Look at that. I was telling you guys about this last week. I was like, this should play some catch up and get back to 14. I had no idea it was going to go that fast, and it did. I still think this RDW could make a move. Okay, just got to the 200 day. It's a big laggard. And then, we talked about SERV, SERV. Look at that move. Buying it down here. I was like, why won't this get back to at least 15? And now this thing could probably, get to 24-ish. This was a very big play for us in the last few days. But anyway, with that being said, there's a lot going on. If you listen to TV set, you'll think that we're a day away from a crash. Don't listen to the TV set. Listen to your charts. Listen to your process. Use your moving averages. Use your day count rules. Use your tier system, and make money. That's it. Just make money. Yeah, space. Hopefully you're doing well. My man Ken is. Everyone has to refocus life sometimes and get through things, and hopefully you're doing all right. I haven't been in Uber in a while. I'm sorry. Checking in Le Champ, hot spring in Vietnam. Oh, hot spring in Vietnam. That's cool. I've never been to Vietnam. My dad was in Vietnam. It was a little different back then, but we won't talk about that. I would go, though. So be like, Red Dog, look at Microsoft. Microsoft finally went. This was, I post charts, so I post like 3 or 4 charts in the public Twitter, and I do about 40 in the private. I did post this last week, and I said, if it could, you could be long versus 506. Did it ever break 506? No. And then I said, if it wants to get above and stay above and give you a trade, that's 520-ish, 521-ish. And where could it go? 527. Look at that. That's why you want to be prepared. That's why you want to map out areas, not only to buy more, but where to trim some. So anyway, well, congratulations if you caught this. It wasn't a focus of mine. I had options that expired on Friday. So yes, it happens. Sometimes things work out awesome, like AMD yesterday, and even Tesla. I bought Tesla into the belly of the beast on Friday, and today is Tesla day. I'm just be careful with Tesla, because you don't know if all of a sudden the rumor of what they're going to have today is better than what actually goes on. But I did buy into the 21 day. I bought TSLL calls. I sold 75% of them yesterday, and we'll see how it goes today. If you sold it with your sell rules here, you were able to buy it back, and that's trading, my dogs. Snap. Traction and growth finally can't be denied after all these fails. You promise me? All right, I'll look at Snap. So Fade My Trade says Snap is finally ready to to be better. I've lost in Snap probably 38 out of 40 times. So he's saying, all right, so what's your thesis here? You're saying the traction and growth finally can't be denied. All right, you know what? How about this? What I'm going to do is, when's earnings on this? Because this is October 28th. I'm going to buy October 29 earnings. I'm going to buy options. I'm going to buy the $9 options just in case it gets a pre-earnings move, and we'll see how it goes. You know, my son Chase is on Snap. You know, the CEO is an idiot. Every time he's got a good report, he friggin' downplays the next month. If you go to the weekly charts, this has been left for dead. This is like a donation. And look at this. I remember you remember back, this was 2020. This was the last time, you know, and then look, by the way, look how it was below the 820 for so long. So if you think it's going to finally get some traction and finally catch some shorts off, you know what, that's what we're going to do. We're going to buy some $9 calls for earnings. And maybe it has a little bit of run. Maybe it sees 14. That's fine. The CEO, he's a jerk. No. Anyway, so with that said, we'll see. A lot of you guys are laughing at the video that I put from the sauna. By the way, that's me in the sauna. So at 5:20 every day, there's a few hundred people that do a workout with me for 20 minutes. I listen to a playlist. You know, I do some mobility work, some feel-good work. I do supersets. So if you want to start your day off right, you drink a big glass of water, you check the news, see what's going on, and then you do a 20-minute workout with me with Red Dog Mindset. But anyway, I was in the sauna literally 2 weeks ago talking about how I was going to buy Bitcoin, 2 sets of options. We did it as a power play. You know, Alpha Team watched it live. Remember when I posted this chart about the inverted head and shoulders pattern? I said, if we just form the right shoulder, we're going to start buying IBIT calls. And that was right here. Oh my goodness, what a trade it turned out to be. It happened so damn fast. So I was buying the $67 calls down here. And I said to you guys, if it gets through 117, that could be your second tier buy to get back to the highs. And it already went back to the highs. So now what? If it's already at 124, 125 on October 7th and October just started and the November Thanksgiving one didn't even happen yet, you know, my target was 135. It's probably going to be 150. So I'm going to continue to buy dips in this. I did sell a lot of the in-the-money options that I had going into yesterday. So now if we can consolidate here, I'll put on a whole new option strategy. But this was absolutely fantastic. You know, and then we bought, remember SPED? I bought SPED options at $1.20. $1.20 we're buying these, saying, hey, why don't you buy them? There's huge, you know, prints going off of the $20 calls. And PS, in this little move, those options went from $1.10, $1.20 to almost $1.90 yesterday. Not a barn burner, but hey, 80% in options, not so bad. And it still can go. But it wasn't a focus. I'm not just sitting there trading SPED. It's just a trade with an idea and just going with it. That's what you got to do. Trust your go time. Create your go time. Quantum names are doing awesome. I just, you know, I every now and then I lose track of a sector because I just can't be in everything. What do I say? You can't kiss all the babies, you know. And IONQ, look at that. We'll move right to the 21 day and then back up. What a nice trade. I caught this trade pretty well. You know, this is your A setup, move up, and then here's your continuation. You know, RGTI took a bunch of out of that, and look at that trade. Wow. Some people were posting pictures of their office on the internet, making fun of them on how they can't believe it. But meanwhile, guess who is laughing all the way to the bank? Technical traders that use the 8-day moving average and chart patterns. This was your move up. What did it do? It held the 8-day. It didn't even get to the 21 day and then went. Lots of action out there. Don't tune into the networks. Don't, you know, they start every goddamn segment with, oh, the AI bubble continues. So they're putting in your head that you're going to get in trouble at some point. You know, you stay with the trade until the trade changes. Listen, don't get ahead of yourself. The last thing you want to do is have all these trades on, and all of a sudden we have a 100 handle down move, which I don't even know what would cause it, and it takes back a third of your month or quarter. But while things are moving and things are acting well, you have to stay active. You have to stay prepared. You have to move your feet. You know, some are asking me, why am I in RUM? Like, that's just a new setup. Listen, it's not a hyper focus. Rumble came out with news. They're using Perplexity AI. A lot of people are on their platform. They're also buying Bitcoin and crypto. No one's really paying attention there. It had a big gap up. I'm long versus 805. Let it go sideways. And then at some point, maybe it takes out 895. That's the trade. Some people are like, well, Red Dog, you know, how do you know if it's a new active sequence or not? And how do you stay with it? Well, I'll tell you right now. I'm framing the trade. I bought Rumble, And I added a little bit yesterday. If it holds 805 and goes sideways, it's showing commitment to this gap up above the moving averages. And then, hey, maybe it takes out 895 and works its way back to $10. That's the frame. That's how you frame a trade. If this, then that. If that, then this. Not watching the TV sets and worried about the world ending, worried about a government shutdown. Control what you can control. Anyway, with that being said, let's just continue working it, my dogs. Hopefully everyone's having a good day. I think everyone that's in my community had a fantastic third quarter. And I even said that, listen, the fourth quarter is usually my best quarter because I'm that focused. I'm trying to like limit my alcohol, limit my food, work out, get prepared at my desk. And so far, I'm up more money in October than I was in the third quarter. So I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm not going to change my style. I'm just going to keep doing the right trade at the right time. Strong decisions, strong offense, strong life. Trust yourself, develop a go time. And I'm telling you, just when it's there, you got to take it. When it's not there, you got to step back. There will be a time when we get below the 8-21 day. There will be a time when I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going from 25, 30 positions. Now I'm none. I'm a little net short, and I'm waiting to use my blood on the street account. But that's not until we're 5, 6, 7% off the highs. And then, you're going to sell your 401k? No, do never sell your 401k. Put your money in every single month because over 30 years, you're going to, develop wealth. If you want to have a blood in the street account, I get it. I have one also just for when Sugar Honey Iced Tea hits the fan. And we bought twice into that 20% down move. That feels like it was a decade ago. That was only in the first quarter of this year. Have multiple approaches. Keep working. I appreciate you. If you get value from the 630 Club, and if you're not a member of all my other services, you better join Red Dog Mindset. There's going to be a time next year when I leave the public Twitter. I'm sick of the bots. I'm sick of not being able to communicate with my community. Join Red Dog Mindset. Get grandfathered in. You'll have the 2520, the 630 Club, and everything I do in the public Twitter, which will be behind the paywall for only $10 a month, 30 cents a day. You guys could get a play a day that makes you thousands of dollars for 30 cents a day. But that's you. And I get to keep your mind right. And we get to have some fun on the weekends. So subscribe above. And if not, it's all good. I hope you're doing well. I wish well for everybody. There's room for everyone to succeed. Just work hard.